Chapter 4: Wiring and Circuit Diagrams. This chapter and Chapter 3 should give you the knowledge of how to read wiring schematics and identify components. You should be able to diagnose problems in wiring and harnesses in vehicles and repair or replace the defects. You should learn to read and use the wiring schematic as a tool, much the same as a screwdriver or wrench. These are the objectives for Chapter 4. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to understand and describe the following. Please pause the video to write these down. As we go through the key terms, consider how each key term might relate to one of these objectives. Color codes. Color codes are used to assist in tracing the wires. In most color codes, the first group of letters designates the base color of the insulation, and the second group of letters indicates the color of the tracer. Common connection. Splices in the wiring that are used to share a source of power or a common ground with different systems. Component locator. A service manual that lists and describes the exact location of components on a vehicle. Crimping tool. A crimping tool has different areas to perform several functions. This single tool cuts a wire, strips the insulation, and crimps the connector. Electrical symbols. Electrical symbols are used to represent components in the wiring diagram. Gauge. Gauge can refer to a device that displays the measurement of a monitored system by the use of a needle or pointer that moves along a calibrated scale. It can also describe the number that is assigned to a wire to indicate its size. The larger the number, the smaller the diameter of the conductor. Ground straps. Electrical conductors that complete the return path to the battery from the components that are insulated from the vehicle's chassis. In addition, ground straps help suppress EMI conduction and radiation by providing a low-resistance circuit ground path. Heat shrink tube. A heat shrink tube is a hollow insulation material that shrinks to an airtight fit over a connection when exposed to heat. Primary wiring. Conductors that carry low voltage and current. The insulation of primary wires is usually thin. Schematic. A schematic is an electrical diagram that shows how circuits are connected, but not details such as color codes. Secondary wiring. Conductors, such as battery cables and ignition spark plug wires that are used to carry high voltage or high current. Secondary wire. Solderless connectors. Hollow metal tubes that are covered with insulating plastic. They can be butt connectors or terminal ends. Splice. A splice is a common connection point for the electrical circuit. It's used to eliminate the need for multiple connection points. Splice clip. A special connector used along with solder to assure good connection. The splice clip is different from solderless connectors in that it does not have insulation. Stranded wire. A conductor comprised of many small solid wires twisted together. This type of conductor is used to allow the wire to flex without breaking. Tracer. A thin or dashed line of a different color than the base color of the insulation. Trouble codes. Trouble codes are the output of the self-diagnostics program in the form of a numbered code that indicates faulty circuits or components. Trouble codes are 2 or 3 digital characters that are displayed in the diagnostic display if the testing and failure requirements are both met. Troubleshooting. The diagnostic procedure of locating and identifying the cause of the fault. It is a step-by-step process of elimination using cause and effect. Vehicle Identification Number, or VIN. This is a number that is assigned to a vehicle for identification purposes. The identification plate is usually located on the cowl, next to the upper left instrument panel. Wiring diagram. An electrical schematic that shows a representation of actual electrical or electronic components and the wiring of the vehicle's electrical systems. Wiring harness. A group of wires enclosed in a conduit and routed to specific areas of the vehicle. This concludes the key terminology for Chapter 4. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.